जैन आगमा ज्ञान। अंग आगमास अचरंग आगमा।
इमेन चेव जुज्जाहि किं ते जुज्झेण वज्झो जुद्धारिहं खलु दुर्लभं यहेत्त कुशलेहिं परिन्नाविवेगे भासिये।
अचरंग सूत्र, अचरंग आगम शास्त्र, बुक 1, third lecture, hot and cold. Shitoshiya, third chapter. Gambuswami was a disciple of Sudharman, one of the 11 chief disciples, Ganadharas of Mahavira. Sudharman Swami heard the discourse from the Venerable Mahavira and narrated to his disciple Jambuswami. The name of the third chapter is Shitoshniya. Shit means cold or favorable or pleasant, and Ushna means hot or unfavorable or unpleasant. The Shitoshniya means cold and hot. This chapter contains discussions about tolerating pleasant and unpleasant afflictions with equanimity. That is why it is titled Shitoshniya. In the list of 22 afflictions for an ascetic, there are 2 pleasant afflictions, afflictions by women and afflictions through hospitality. The remaining 20 are believed to be unpleasant afflictions. Sheet, favorable, here means bhava sheet, or mentally favorable. This is a specific attitude of being. Here 4 types of bhava sheet have been mentioned: mild afflictions, controlling stupor, renunciation, renouncing acts like killing living beings and practicing 17 types of discipline, and pleasure caused by precipitation of sata, vedayana karma, or the karma that causes feelings of pleasure. It is mentioned that Ushna, unfavorable, should be taken as Bhava Ushna or mentally unfavorable. This is too is a specific attitude of beings. The commentator Nivrutti has mentioned 8 types of Bhava Ushna, unfavorable afflictions with intense and intolerable consequences, endure towards austerities, passions like anger and conceit, grief, mental torture, physical gender, masculine, feminine and neuter, arti, dislike for spiritual activities, or perversion caused by fondness, and sorrow caused by precipitation of ashtha, vedayana karma, and the karma that causes feelings of pain or grief. In brief, attitude of equanimity or detachment is said to be the favorable, and attitude infested with passions is said to be unfavorable. A seeker of liberation should tolerate both these favorable and unfavorable conditions with equanimity. He should not be joyous in pleasure and disturbed in pain. This is the gist of this chapter titled Shitoshniya. The 4 lessons of this chapter contain the following topics. The first lesson contains a discussion about the states of slumber and awakening from the spiritual angle. In particular, it explains how to differentiate between alertness and stupor, and detachment and attachment. The second lesson explains that a man in mental slumber is devoid of spiritual insight. It is he who experiences pleasure or pain. A mentally alert seeker is awake even if he is physically asleep. The third lesson contains directions about the sense of duty of a seeker, emphasizing that merely tolerating pain does not make one a Shraman. The fourth lesson advises to get free of passions. This chapter commences with the discussion about the states of slumber and alertness. For body, sleep as well as wakefulness are important. From spiritual point of view, only the state of alertness is important. The precipitation of darshana Mahaniya karma is the deepest slumber. One who suppresses or sheds this karma is ever awakened or alert. This way, in these 4 lessons, numerous topics have been discussed in context of mentally favorable and unfavorable conditions or states. Lesson 1. Sudarva Swami, the Ganadhara of Lord Mahavira, explained and said in the Sutra 107 about the slept and the awakened. The ignorant sleep, the wise are ever awake. Know this, that in this world attachment and misery are causes of harm. Knowing that for the practice of discipline and feeling of equality to be beneficial, one disciplined person should abstain from use of weapons in this world. Asleep, awakened. An ignorant, irrespective of being in a state of slumber or awake, is always asleep spiritually. Acharya Bhadrabahu has 4 alternative combinations of this. Those who are attached with mundane pleasures are asleep when sleeping. They are even asleep while they are awake. They are called asleep. While they are performing their normal duties of business and are awake, they are still called spiritually asleep. The ascetics who indulge in discipline, meditation, studies and other such activities are awake physically as well as spiritually. The disciplined individuals who are sleeping are physically asleep, but they are always awake spiritually. To explain these who have come out of the slumber of falsity, attachment, stupor, passions and evil affliction, who have acquired right knowledge and who do not drift away from the path of liberation, are called munis, sages and ascetics. Those who are contrary to this, who are plagued by falsity, ignorance and wrong knowledge, are amuni, ignorant or unwise. Due to the preponderance of mental slumber, insensitivity, here the ignorant have been termed as sleeping and wise as awakened. There are 2 categories of this state of slumber: physical slumber and mental slumber. Those who are physically asleep are in a state of physical slumber. Those who are under the influences of the great slumber, Mahanidra, of ignorance and falsity, are in a state of mental slumber. In other words, those who are devoid of any spiritual development, who are perverse, indisciplined and ignorant, are in a state of mental slumber in spite of being physically awake. The partially detached Shravaks, lay Jains, are partially asleep and partially awakened. Those who have right perception, who are ever alert and dwell in the spiritual world, are awakened. The awakened are also of 2 types: those who are not asleep are physical awake, and those who are perfectly disciplined and sagacious are mentally awake. Those who, while sleeping, following the tenets in scriptures for the purpose of maintaining the body, that is the instrument of ascetic discipline, are spiritually awake, do not commit any prohibited deed. They are awake from the religious or spiritual viewpoint. This means that these 2 states of physical and mental slumber have been defined in context of religion or spirituality. In Bhagavati Sutra, there is a mention of a discussion on this subject between Bhagwan Mahavir and Jayanti Shravika. She asks, Bhante, who are better, the sleeping or the awakened? Bhagwan replied in his Anekanta style, the awakened state of a religious person is good, and so is the state of a slumber of a sinner. Here the reference is to physical and not mental slumber. The word samaya has many meanings. Earlier it was used in the sense of principle. Here it is used in the sense of discipline as well as equanimity. In context of ahimsa, equanimity means to consider all being same as oneself, or the feeling of universal equality. In context of non-possession or detachment, equanimity means to be neutral in profit and loss. Sudharman continued with Jambuswami. The unwise sleep, the sage is always awake. Know that in this world the cause of a misery due to ignorance and delusion brings forth evil consequences. Knowing the course of the world is regarding the evil doer. One should cease from violent acts. He who correctly possesses these sensual perceptions, sounds and colors and smells and tastes and touches, who self-possessed, wise, just, chaste, with the right comprehension understands the world. He is to be called a sage, one who knows the law and rituals. He knows the connection of the will of birth and the current of sensation with love and hate. Not minding heat and cold, equanimous against pleasure and pain, the Nirgrantha does not feel the austerity of penance. Waking and free from hostility, a wise man, though liberated thyself and others from the miseries. Abandoning indulgence and non-indulgence. In the Sutra 108, a person who has properly understood sound, form, smell and taste and touch is Atmavan or spiritualist, Jnanavan or sagacious, Vedavan or scholar of canons, Dharmavan or religious, and Brahmavan or chaste. One who knows the world through his knowledge, Sajasti, is called a Muni. He knows Dharma and is simple. He acquires perfectly the knowledge about attachment and the source of the cycle of birth and death. He who rejects cold and hot, happiness and misery, is without a knot, enduring indulgence and non-indulgence. He does not mind casting them off. He who is alert and free of animosity is brave. This is the way making use of knowledge, detachment, tolerance, alertness and equanimity, following which you will be able to get liberated from karmas, the root cause of sorrow. But a man always benign, subject to old age and death, does not know the law. Seeing living beings suffering, earnestly enter a religious life. Considering this, O prudent one, look, knowing the misery that results from action, the deluded and careless one returns to life, disregarding sounds and colors of pride, avoiding Mara, one is liberated from death. Carefully abstaining from pleasures and ceasing from bad work, he is a hero. Guarding himself, who is grounded in knowledge. He who knows the violence done for the sake of special objects knows what is free from violence. He who knows what is free from violence knows the violence done are special objects. For him who is without karman, there is no appellation. The condition of living beings arises from karman. Habisavan Vagat. One who knows about the good and bad, pleasant and unpleasant, forms and functions of mundane indulgence, and knowing very well the evil consequences, refrains from such indulgence. Atmavan is he who protects his soul by abstaining from mundane indulgences like that of hearing sound with attachment. Jnanavan is he who has true knowledge of fundamentals like Jiva. Vedavan is he who is a scholar of scriptures like Acharanga that are helpful in acquiring knowledge about true form of fundamentals like being, Jiva. In other words, he who knows the path of liberation from attachment and aversion as propagated in Agam is called Vedavan. Dharmavan is one who knows dharma, religion, in the form of conduct conforming to the canons or in context of spiritual practices, the dharma, nature of soul. Examining karman and the root of karman, killing, examining it and adopting its contrary, he is not seen by both ends. Knowing this, a wise man who knows the world and has cost of the idea of the world should prudently conquer the obstructions to righteousness. Thus I say, Sudharman continued, Brahmavan is one who practices celibacy of 18 types. These types are neither to indulge nor cause others to indulge, or approve others of indulging in sexual activity relating to the divine realm through mind, speech, and body. These 9 types are related to the divine realm. In the same way, there are 9 types related to the physical realm and includes humans and animals, making a total of 18. The message of this paragraph is that the person who properly understands sound and other sources of mundane pleasures and is free of attachment and aversion towards them is Atmavan or spiritualist, Jnanavan or sagacious, Vedavan or scholar of canons, Dharmavan or religious, and Brahmavan or chaste. One who knows the world through his knowledge, sagacity, is called a Muni. This statement means that the seeker who rightly knows the world of beings with the help of the discerning attitude acquired through Matigyana, sensory knowledge, and Shruti-jnana, the knowledge of the scriptures belonging to the oral tradition of Jains, is known as Muni. The commentator Vritti has interpreted the word Muni as one who ponders over and understands the present, past, and future activities of this world is called Muni. Here the term Muni has been used as a synonym of Jnani or sagacious, one whose soul has become simple by getting rid of the complexities of mind through the knowledge of the real form of matter is called Riju or Anju. The world filled with miseries like birth, aging, ailments, and grief is called Bhava Avarth or willful of rebirth. The place of origin of this source is attachment for mundane indulgences. Therefore, he who knows about it is said to be acquainted with the source of willful. Acharya Mahaprajna has interpreted avarth as the fickleness of mind caused by attachment for sensual pleasures. Thus, the sources of avarth are sense organs. Abstainer of cold hot means a seeker who tolerates cold or pleasant and hot or unpleasant afflictions with equanimity. Also, who does not allow the mind to waver, who suffering pleasure or pain. Acharya Sri Atmaram Ji has interpreted sheath, cold, as feebleness and languidness, and hot as liveliness and impatience. Accordingly, he says that a seeker should neither be excessively lethargic nor hyperactive in his quest for knowledge. In other words, he should have a neutral or equanimous attitude. Arati Ratish Sahe, one who counters with equanimity the lack of interest and liking for discipline and austerities, is a Nigranth, free of outer and inner knots or complexities. Harshness and pain are essential consequences of suffering, afflictions, and torments. A Nirghanth seeker does not take pain as pain. This attitude has been expressed by the sentence Frusium no Vedati. Alertness. Sutra 109 says, alertness, overpowered by the thought of old age and death, a man remains stupid due to his fondness for his body. Due to this stupidity, he fails to know dharma. Seeing people disturbed or tormented by physical and mental miseries, one should be ever alert in his movement. O possessor of wisdom, you should observe these disturbed beings thoughtfully. Knowing that this grief is born out of ill intent, you should be free of ill intent. The deluded and careless are born time and again. One who ignores is free of attachment and aversion, is simple, innocent, always apprehensive, alert of death. He gets free of death, fear of death. The elaboration. This paragraph advises a seeker to observe and ponder over the condition of a being tormented by various fears like old age and death, their causes and consequences. Here the commentator Vritti has raised a question. Gods are said to be non-aging and immortal, therefore they must be free of the stupor of fondness. The answer provided is, although gods are called non-aging, they too age, because before the moment of descent their lesha, the color code indicator of purity of soul, power, happiness, aura, complexion, start fading. In a way, this is also a process of aging. They also die. They are also afflicted by sorrows like grief and fear. Therefore, gods are also under the stupor of fondness or attachment. Aurapane, beings engulfed in the unfathomable ocean of physical and mental miseries and perplexed thereby. Mai denotes the middle passion, but here it also includes the first two and last as well. Thus, here it should be understood to include all the four passions: anger, conceit, illusion, and greed. Uveha Manu, Anju, and Marabha Shikmi. These three are adjectives used for the alert and awakened seeker. Only he who ignores sound and other subjects of sense organs has unblemished soul and is consciously alert of death. In the Sutra 110, Sudara Swami says, one who knows the domain, Kshetra, is alert towards mundane pleasure. A man who remains free of sinful attitude and activity is brave and self-guarded, who keeps his soul protected. One who knows the consequences of using weapons, indiscipline or violence, inspired by attachment with varieties of mundane indulgences, he also knows the consequences of not using weapons, discipline or ahimsa. One who knows the consequence of discipline or ahimsa also knows the consequence of indiscipline or violence inspired by attachment with varieties of mundane indulgences, leaving the awareness of the world. In Sutra 111, one who is free of karma is also free of mundane behavior. It is karma that leads to appellations. In Sutra 112, one should properly ponder over karma and try to destroy it. That which is himsa, violence, is the root of karma. Therefore, after properly examining it, one should abstain from it. After properly examining all this, one should remain untouched from both the ends. The wise should understand attachment and aversion. Through awareness of knowledge, he should know them, and through awareness of detachment, he should abandon them. Understanding the world of attachment and aversion, that sagacious seeker should cast off the awareness, desire of the world and pursue the conduct of discipline. So I say. Elaboration. These phrases direct at knowing well and avoiding the harms caused to soul by its association with karmas and their source. The message contains inspiration to be away from the two ends of the seed of karma, namely attachment and aversion. To get free of the desire of the world attachment after knowing its true form, mundane indulgences and passion, and to pursue the path of discipline. Akamsa, one who is without karma or is free of all karmas, he is also free of mundane appellations like those of hell being, animal, human being, god, child, old man, youth, perfect, having all sense, imperfect, not having all sense. All such appellations or adjectives as hell being, animal and human being are 1 sense to 5 sense, are stupid and intelligent, are female and male, are for one who is infested with karma. The causes of all these divisions and differences or classifications is karma. Therefore, karma is the only cause of appellations. The commentator Churni has defined this as karma causes imposture. It is of 3 types: of the soul, of karmas, and of the body. When the soul is infested with desire for indulgence and passions, it is soul imposture, the acquisitive nature. This leads to acquisition of imposture of karmas, which leads to imposture of the body. In the mundane domain, it turns into appellations, a misleading adjective because the ultimately true form of the soul is pure, like those of hell beings, human beings. Kamam cha padileha, to make an effort to shed karmas after knowing completely their form and effects. There are 5 primary causes of karmic bondage: mithyatva, false perception or belief; avirati, attachment; pramada, stupor; kasya, passions; yoga, affiliation. One should ponder over the origin of these karmas. Kshan means kshanan or violence. It also conveys that the cause of karmas is violence and cause of violence is karma. Dohim and tehim means 2 ends which are means, attachment and aversion. One should properly know all these. Adisamane, not visible or not influenced. Every being is under the influence of attachment and aversion. But a vitaranga, detached, is invisible, to not influenced by attachment and aversion. Logasasanam, worldly awareness. The 4 or 10 types of awareness like food, the 3 desires for wealth, progeny and world are also included in this. The attitude of hankering for indulgences is also called worldly awareness.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
जैन आगमा ज्ञान। अंग आगमास, अचरंग आगमा।
इमेण चैव जुज्जाहि किं ते जुज्झेण वज्झो जुद्धारिहं खलु दुर्लभं यहेत्त कुशलेहिं परिन्नाविवेगे भासिये।
अचरंग सूत्र, अचरंग आगम शास्त्र, बुक 1, 3rd lecture, hot and cold. Shitoshiya, 3rd chapter. Gambuswami was the disciple of Sudharman, one of the 11 chief disciples, Ganadharas of Mahavira. Sudharman Swami heard the discourse from the Venerable Mahavira and narrated to his disciple Jambuswamin. Second lesson. This second lesson informs that a mentally alert person does not commit sin. He gets aware of the miseries caused by violence and other such acts and refrains from indulging in them. Sudharman continued with Jambuswamin and said, "Look, sir, at birth and old age here, examine and know the happiness of living. Thence the most learned, knowing what is called the highest good. He who has right intuition commits no sin. Undo the bond with mortals here. He who lives by sins is subject to both. Desirous of pleasures, they heap up karman. Influenced by it, they are born again. Killing animals, he thinks good sport and derives mirth from it. Away with that fool's company, he increases his own unrighteousness. Thence the most learned, knowing what is called the highest good, aware of the punishment, commits no sin. Wisely avoid the top and the root. Cutting them off, he knows himself free from karman. That man will be liberated from death. He is a sage who sees the danger. Knowing the highest good in this world, leading a circumspect life, calm, guarded, endowed with knowledge, always restrained, longing for death, he should lead a religious life. Manifold indeed appear sinful actions, therefore prove constant to truth. Delighting in it, a wise man destroys all karman. Awareness of bondage and liberation. In the Sutra 113, Sudharman says, as stated by Lord Mahavira, O Arya, a noble person, observe the birth and growth, aging in this world. Know about the pleasure and pain caused by karmic bondage and its fruition of beings. A highly learned person or one who has acquired three types of knowledge, who knows the ultimate truth, liberation, becomes Samatdarshi, acquires an equanimous perception and avoids sinful activities. He explains, like one who knows about birth, aging and death, tries to avoid these. The cause of life and death is violence and attachment. These are also the roots of happiness and misery. Pondering over this, a being can protect himself from these sources of misery. Tamahati Vijayam, one who has acquired three types of knowledge. This is an indication to perceive and know three things, which are knowledge of earlier birth, knowledge about birth and death, and comparative study of one's own happiness and sorrow and those of other beings. Trividya means to acquire the knowledge of these three things. Buddhism lists Trividya as knowledge of the earlier birth, knowledge about birth and death, the knowledge about process of casting off the dirt of mind or thoughts. One who acquires these three is called Trividya or Trividya. Many indeed are the plans of this man of the world. He will satisfy his desires. He thereby causes the slaughter of others, the pain of others, the punishment of others, the slaughter, the blame, the punishment of a whole province. Doing such things, some have exerted themselves. Therefore, the second, the wrong creed, is not adhered to. The knowing one, seeing the vanity of the world, knowing the rise and fall of the souls, the Brahman follows the unrivaled control of the Jainas. He should not kill, nor cause others to kill, nor consent to the killing of others. Avoid gaiety, not delighting in creatures. Having the highest intuition, keeping off from sinful acts. And the hero should conquer wrath and pride. Look at the great hell as the place for greed. Therefore, the hero, abstaining from killing, should destroy sorrow, going the road of easiness. Here now the hero, knowing the bondage, knowing sorrow, should restrain himself. Having risen to birth among men, he should not take the life of living beings. In the Sutra 114, O man, break the bond in the form of your attachment with mortals in this world, because the people who indulge in sinful activities are subject to both mental and physical happiness and sorrow. In other words, as they indulge in sinful activities, they continue to live in fear of punishment and other such consequences. People involved in mundane pleasures continue to accumulate karmas, and as the roots of karma are repeatedly gated, they are reborn time and again. In this verse indicates the attitude, activity and consequence of the person who accumulates karmas. Pash, bonds, these are of two types, physical and mental. The mental bonds are in the form of attachment, fondness, affection, cravings, possessiveness. These are the bonds that ensure a seeker into the trap of life and death. Arambhijivi. In this phrase, Arambha, sinful activity, should be taken to be both Maharambha, extremely sinful activities, and its cause, Mahaparigraha, extreme attachment to possessions. In some versions, an alternative reading is found as Ubhaya Anupasi, which means because of extreme sin and attachment, he is ever apprehensive. Samischi Chachaman Punaririnti Gabhama conveys that violence, falsity, stealing, lust, attachment are the roots of karma. Those who irrigate them continuously are reborn again and again at various places and genesis. In the Sutra 115, a man fond of mundane pleasures celebrates killing of beings for his enjoyment and entertainment. What is the use of association with such foolish people? It only enhances the feeling of animosity in one's mind. Many extremely sinful and covetous persons seek entertainment in cruel and violent activities like torturing and killing beings, drowning them in water bodies, flogging them with whips, leaving them at the mercy of ferocious animals like a lion, offering innocent animals and birds as sacrifice in yajna, or hunting innocent beings as a sport. In the same way, many people derive their enjoyment or entertainment through telling lies, stealing, womanizing, or misappropriating wealth, property, and other belongings of others. Such people keep on increasing their animosity with other beings. Even simple laughter and making fun causes animosity sometimes. The commentator Vritti has given an example from Samaradhya Katha that Gunasena taunted Agnisharma many ways. This caused an animosity between the two, and it continued for 9 rebirths. Why love one but eat the other? In the Sutra 160, Sudarma Swami illustrated saying that therefore that highly learned one, knowing about the ultimate state, liberation, and visualizing the torments of hell in violence and other such activities, does not indulge in sinful activities. O patient one, judge the tip and root of sorrow, recognize it, break the bonds of attachment, and reach the karma-less state, free of karmas. Here he explains that one who sees the torments does not indulge in sinful activities. The idea behind this statement is that he who realizes that sorrow is caused by karma or violence knows terror. He does not indulge in sinful activities himself, nor does he cause others to do so or approves others doing so. The terms agra and mula are interpreted many ways. For example, the 4 aghati karmas like vedaniya karma, responsible for mundane experiences of pain and pleasure, are like tips, and the 4 ghati beneficial karmas like dividing karmas are like roots. The mohaniya karma, illusion breeding karma, or karma that tempts soul towards fondness for things, is the root of all karmas, and the remaining 7 are like tips. Falsity is the root and stupor. Indiscipline and other vices are like tips. A practitioner ponders with sagacity over the tips or consequences as well as roots or primary causes of karma. To think only about the tip, evidence of a pain caused by evil karmas, does not provide relief from it. It is essential to attend to the root cause. The root of the sorrows produced by karma is mohaniya karma. All other karmas are like its leaves and flowers. Palichindiniya, explaining this phrase, is the commentator Vritti says, by completely destroying attachment and aversion to their reluctant and resultant karmas with the help of austerities and discipline, a soul becomes Nishakarma Darshi, having perception unveiled by karmas. Nishakarma Darshi can be interpreted in 4 ways: being free of all karmas, who becomes Atmadarshi or soul perceiving; being free of attachment and aversion, who becomes Sarvadarshi or all perceiving. In absence of consequential activities or the effects of karma, who becomes Akriyadarshi or inactivity perceiving. And in total absence of karmas, who becomes Mokshadarshi or liberation perceiving. Here, Darshi or perceiving does not simply mean looking at or seeing. It implies that such a seeker has attained that state. The root and tip of karma. O patient one, judge and recognize the tip and root of karma. Attachment and aversion are like roots, and the tree that develops out of these is the tip which includes the 8 karmas: Mohaniya, Antaraya, Jnanavaraniya, Darshavarniya, Vedaniya, Ayushya, Nama and Gotra. The various manifestations of these karmas are like leaves of the tree. The Mohani karma is the root of all karmas, and the remaining 7 are like tips. Water in a strainer. A person who wants to fulfill his desires by acquiring wealth and other mundane pleasures and comforts is doing something childish, like an attempt to fill a strainer with water from rivers and streams. That is impossible. In Sutra 117, that Nishabda Mardarshi, person who has visualized fear in form of life and death, gets liberated from death. That learned person leads life equipped with the following 7 virtues. Paramadhamsi, he sees the ultimate state, which is liberation, or the soul in its absolutely pure form. With the Jivi, he leads a life free of attachment and aversion. Uvasante, he subdues vices in form of passions. Samiyi, he has unwearying concentration on his goal. In other words, he is equipped with 5 samathis, practices of self-regulation. Sahi, he is equipped with right knowledge and perception. Sayajayi, he is careful in his discipline. Kalakanki, remaining free of the fear of death, he keeps meditational end of life as his goal. In the Sutra 118, O practitioner, be firm on pursuance of truth. A sage who is firm on truth destroys all evil karmas. He explains this aphorism, informs about the importance of being firm on truth. The commentator Vritti has interpreted truth in different ways, from different angles. That which is beneficial for beings is truth, and it is discipline. The tenets of the Janeshwar Lord given in the form of Agams is truth because it reveals the true form of things. Thus it is the ultimate truth. Truth means resolution. To faultlessly follow the oaths one has accepted is truth. It is advised here to be firm on truth. The disturbed state of indisciplined mind. In the Sutra 119, the indisciplined person is of many minds, having a flickering mind. He wants to fill water in a sieve. A man with a disturbed mind, to fulfill his desire, indulges in killing others, inflicting pain on others, and enslaving others. He also indulges in destroying, inflicting pain, and enslaving, conquering inhabited areas, village, city, or state. In the explanation, a man desirous of mundane pleasure is said to be with many minds. This is because, driven by greed, he indulges in numerous business activities like agriculture, trading, industry. Day and night, his mind is obsessed with thoughts and worries of such business activities. Such multi-directional person becomes excessively greedy and craves for filling a sieve with water. The insinuation is that it is impossible to fill the sieve, that is mundane desire, with water, that is wealth. To fill the pot of his mundane desires, he kills other beings, inflicts physical and mental torture on others, and acquires bipeds like slaves, and servants, and quadrupeds like domestic animals. He does not just stop there. Driven by extreme greed, he proceeds to destroy, inflict pain in numerous ways on, and conquer entire inhabited areas. Progress in discipline. In the Sutra 120, some people indulging in sinful activities, attachment, and other types of indiscipline at last commence practice of discipline. Therefore, they do not indulge in mundane pleasures and violence again. You should see that mundane pleasures are worthless. Know this, it is not that life and death of only human beings are inevitable. Even the origin and descent of gods are also inevitable. Knowing this, do not get infatuated with mundane pleasure. O Brahman Shraman, involve yourself only with the solitary. He, Muni or ascetic, should neither himself harm nor cause others to harm, or approve others harming beings. Become nirved, genderless, are apathetic to enjoyment of carnal pleasure. Do not get infatuated with women, because one who perceives the ultimate fundamental soul remains apathetic to sinful activities. Elaboration. In this aphorism, by explaining about worthlessness of mundane pleasures and ephemeral nature of life, inspires a seeker averse to mundane pleasures and involved in practices of ascetic discipline to be apathetic to acts of sin like carnal pleasures and non-celibacy. Mundane pleasures are worthless because they never culminate into sanitation. And that is why people like Bharat Chakravarti, understanding the worthlessness of mundane pleasures, proceeded towards ascetic discipline. The words Yuvavaya and Chayavan have been used to point at the birth and death of gods. The birth and death of human beings is a well-known fact, but a misconception prevails that divine life with abundance of mundane pleasure is eternal. Gods are immortal. These two words refute that misconception. Ananyaya or Anaya points at the solitary nature of soul during practice of discipline and in liberation. One who perceives attains the ultimate fundamental in the form of right perception, knowledge, conduct is called Anoma Dhamasi. In the Sutra 121, O brave, destroy anger and conceit and see greed as the lowest hell. Thereby refrain from violence, shatter the sources of karma in the form of mundane pleasure, and drift after becoming light, rarefied in terms of passion. Elaboration. Lahu bhu yagami. Move after making the soul light or free of the burden of attachment and aversion. In Nata Sutra, this has been explained with the help of example of a gourd. As a gourd, free of the weight of layers of mud, comes to the surface of a water body, so does a soul rise to the realm of the liberated, moksha. In the commentary Churni, there is an alternative reading, Chindija Sotamnahu Bhutagamam. This means an ascetic practicing Iryasamiti and other Samiti, self-regulation, should not fear harm 14 types of Bhutagram, collection of living organisms. In the Sutra 122, Sudharma Swami said, O brave, knowing about the knots, attachment in this world, abstain from them at once. In the same way, know about the sources, mundane at once. In the same way about the sources, mundane pleasures, and lead a disciplined life. Know that it is only during the life as a human being that one gets the opportunity to swim across the ocean of life. Knowing this, an ascetic should not terminate or harm the lives of beings. So I say,
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
जैन आगमा ज्ञान। अंग आगमास, अचरंग आगमा।
इमेण चैव जुज्जाहि किं ते जुज्झेण वज्झो जुद्धारिहं खलु दुर्लभं यहेत्त कुशलेहिं परिन्नाविवेगे भासिये।
अचरंग सूत्र, अचरंग आगम शास्त्र, बुक 1, 3rd lecture, hot and cold. Shitoshiya, 3rd chapter. Gambuswami was a disciple of Sudharman, one of the 11 chief disciples, Ganadharas of Mahavira. Sudharman Swami heard the discourse from the Venerable Mahavira and narrated to his disciple Jambuswami. Third lesson. The second lesson contains the message about tolerating pain and conquering passions like anger. To avoid violence and passions, It is essential to become a perceiver of soul. Only he can avoid violence who considers all beings like his own self. This topic has been discussed in this chapter. Sudharman continued with Jambu Swami. He said, knowing the connection of the world, carelessness is not for his benefit. Look at the exterior world from analogy with thy own self. You wilt neither kill nor destroy living beings. Out of reciprocal regard, he does no sinful act. What is characteristic of a sage? Recognizing the equality of all living beings, he appeases himself. Knowing the highest good, one should never be careless. Guarding oneself, always prudent, one should pass life on the right road. Seeing equality. In the Sutra 123, seeing equality. In the Sutra 123, O seeker, recognize the opportunity of practicing ascetic discipline and visualize the outer world, other souls or beings, as similar to your own soul. Thereby, an ascetic should neither harm beings nor cause others to do so. A man may not indulge in sinful activity for mutual apprehension, fear or shame. Can he be called an ascetic because of this? One should acquire disregard of sensual enjoyment, being with a great one or the small ones. When one knows whence men come and where they go, and when both ends are out of sight, one is not cut, nor slit, nor burned, nor struck by any one in the whole world. Sandhi means breach or opportunity. It is of two types: physical, like a hole in a wall, and mental, like an opportunity for spiritual development. The latter in turn is of three types: right perception, right knowledge, and right contact. The commentator explains that when a prisoner finds a breach in the wall of the prison, he tries to free himself. In the same way, this life is like a breach. To free oneself from the prison of attachment, an ascetic should understand this. According to Acharya Mahaprajna, as the contest is of violence and ahimsa, the meaning of sandhi is joined here. He explains every being wants to live. Everyone loves a life like his own. The philosophy of considering others like one's own self is sandhi. Knowing this, do not indulge in harming any being. The word sandhi has been used frequently in this agam, and it has different meanings in different contexts. Jaiminam anamane. This phrase conveys that if someone does not kill a being out of fear, allurement, apprehension, or other such pressures, it is not an evidence of his being an ascetic or a sage. In fact, an ascetic is one who does not harm a being for no other reason but his resolve not to indulge in sinful activity. Some do not remember what preceded the present, what has been his past, what will be his future. Some men here say, what has been his past, that will be his future. There is no past thing, nor is there a future one. So find the Tadagatas. In the Sutra 124, an ascetic should always keep his soul blissful with the viewpoint of equality. A sagacious ascetic should never be lethargic about the unique ultimate, the highest discipline. An ascetic should always guard his soul and be vigorous and committed. Also, he should subsist on his spiritual path with limited food. He should be detached towards all forms of visible matter, big or small. When one knows from where beings come and where will they go, and when he is away from both ends that are attachment and aversion, he is neither cut nor slit, nor burnt nor killed by anyone in the whole world. He whose karman has ceased and conduct is right, who recognizes the truth and destroys sinful, what is discontent and what is pleasure, not subject to either, one should live, giving up all gaiety, circumspect and restrained. One should lead a religious life. The dimensions of human development is directly enhancing human abilities, creating conditions for human development. Long and healthy life, knowledge, decent standard of living, participation in political and community life, environmental sustainability, human security and rights, gender equality. Samyam Tat Veha. In the 116th aphorism, it is stated that if someone does not harm beings out of fear, it is not an evidence of his being an ascetic. Now, this aphorism conveys that one who refrains from sinful activities after understanding equality is an ascetic. When the feeling of equality pervades one's life, his soul derives happiness and bliss therein. Annaparnam. That which is best of all, and that is discipline or the feeling of equality. A sage should never be lethargic or wanting in his discipline or sense of equality. In observing discipline, it is also necessary to have food discipline. Therefore, in the following phrase, it is conveyed by the word Jayamaye that one should subsist on his spiritual path only with just essential quantity of food. As taking excessive quantity of food or very tasty and rich food is detrimental to the practice of discipline. One should have knowledge of the quantitative aspects of food. With the food discipline, one should also acquire a feeling of detachment towards form and other attributes. This is conveyed by Ragam Ruvehim. Detachment for forms also leads to the ultimate detachment. Agatim Parinaya. There are 4 gatis, states of dimensions of birth. One should ponder over the question, a being of which gati can come to which other gati, or from which gati a being can go to which other gati. For example, an animal or a human being can pass to or come from any 4 gatis, but gods and hell beings can pass to or come from only 2 gatis, namely animal and human. And it is only humans who can transcend into the 5th gati, liberation, by terminating this process of transference. From there they return no more to any other gati. Man, thou art thy own friend. Why wishest thou for a friend beyond thyself? Whom he knows a dweller on high, him he should know as a dweller far, and whom he knows as a dweller, him he should know as a dweller on high. Man restraining themselves, thou wilt get free from pain. Man understand well the truth, exerting himself in the rule of truth, a wise man overcomes Mara. In the Sutra 125, some persons do not think about future and past. They do not bother about what was its past and what will its future be. Some say that as was its past, so will be its future. That omniscient neither thinks about the meaning in context of mundane pleasures of the past, nor does he consider the future mundane pleasures, such as the company of divine domiciles. A great sage with purity of conduct, ascetic conduct, is a follower of the philosophy of these omniscients. In other words, that advancing sage perceives the present only. He weakens the karmic body. For him, what is discontent and what is pleasure? He should lead a life free of any such predilections, giving up all frivolities like mirth, disciplining his senses and guarding his body, speech, mind. He should lead a religious life. The gifted man, following the law, sees well his true interest in a twofold way. For the sake of life's splendor, honor, and glory, some men exert themselves, wherein they go astray. The gifted, too touched by calamity, are no confounded. Mind this: the worthy one in this world gets out of the creation. Thus I say, life cycles analysis. This paragraph has been interpreted in various ways from various angles. For example, the philosophical angle, some people say that past should not be contemplated along with the future because future has no relation with the past. Some people believe that the future is same as the past. A being takes the same form as it had in his earlier birth. Man, woman, animal or bird. From the spiritual angle, it is said that one should neither remember the experiences of pleasure and pain in the past nor desire for such indulgences in future. Some special words from this paragraph are explained as follows. Tathagat. The commentators Tika have interpreted it as Sarvajnana or omniscient who is absolutely detached and who knows the real form of things. Vidhut Kalpa. Those who have washed away the dirt of karmas are called Vidhut. The conduct propagated by them is Vidhut Kalpa or ascetic conduct, aghai, devoid of the desire of acquiring, which means that he should move about without acquiring attachment or aversion. In other words, he should lead a life of detachment, disciplining his senses as a tortoise draws its limbs and neck into the shell. Judgment of the friend and foe. The Sutra 126. O man, you are your friend. Why then you look for a friend outside? Whom you consider to dwell at a high spiritual level, take him to be away from all cravings. Whom you consider to be away from all desires, take him to be dwelling at a high spiritual level. Sutra 127. O man, discipline your soul. Only through this process you will get liberated from sorrows. Elaboration. In the 119th aphorism, friendship has been defined from Nishchaya angle. One who is free of the concept of outside friendship dwells in a high abode. Disciplining the soul indicates disciplining mind and attitude. It is the mind that gets attached to favorable experience and is averse to unfavorable experience. These are the sources of misery. This disciplining of mind automatically rids one of sorrows. Progress into truth. Sutra 128. O man, understand truth properly. A sage who is governed by the discipline of truth crosses the void of death, the cycles of rebirth. A seeker equipped with truth accepts dharma, right path, and properly gains the ultimately beneficent. Driven by attachment and aversion, a soul indulges in sins like violence for the purpose of revering, respecting, and worshipping life. Even some seekers become lax for these. A seeker equipped with knowledge and other virtues is not disturbed even when touched by volumes of misery, pleasant and unpleasant affliction. A self-knowing, absolutely detached person becomes free of the evident deceptions or illusions in this world. The commentator has given three meanings of truth in context of Satya Chameveva Sambhi Jahai. Jahanijya, to get nervous or disturbed in face of misery or trouble. The Sanskrit transliteration of Jhanajya in Dhanya Dhata, Dhi, Adhanta, blindness of wisdom or dumbness. This is of two types, Raga, Jhanajha, dumbness due to attachment, and Dvesha, Jhanajha, dumbness due to aversion. In face of favorable experience, one suffers from Raga, Jhanajha, and in face of unfavorable experiences, one suffers from Dvesha, Jhanajha.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
जैन आगमा ज्ञान। अंग आगमास, अचरंग आगमा।
इमेण चैव जुज्जाहि किं ते जुज्झेण वज्झो। जुद्धारिहं कलदुल्लहं यहेत्त कुशलेहिं परिन्नाविवेगे भासिये।
Acharanga Sutra, Acharanga Agama Sastra, Book 1, Third Lecture, Hot and Cold. Shitoshiya, Third Chapter. Gambuswami was a disciple of Sudharman, one of the 11 chief disciples, Ganadharas of Mahavira. Sudharman Swami heard the discourse from the Venerable Mahavira and narrated to his disciple Jambuswami. Fourth lesson, Victory over Passions. Sutra 129. A seeker gives up anger, conceit, illusion and greed. This is a tenet of Tirthankaras, or many citizens, who are devoid of violence and have destroyed all karmas. He alone is the destroyer of karmas, who stops the inflow of karmas by disciplining passions. So Dharman continued with Jambuswami. That man, the liberated, conquers wrath, pride, deceit and greed. This is the doctrine of the seed who does not injure living beings and has put an end to acts and to samsara. Preventing propensity to sin destroys former actions. He who knows one thing knows all things, and he who knows all things knows one thing. He who is careless in all respects is in danger. He who is not careless in all respects is free from danger. Here, advising to give up 4 passions, including anger, it is said that this is the philosophy of Pashyak, Uparat Shastra, free of weapons such as violence, Paryantkar, who has shed the 4 vitiating karmas, Ayanam Sagogat Bhi, who has blocked passions, the sources of inflow of karma. All these are adjectives used for Bhagwan Mahavir. He who conquers one passion conquers many, and he who conquers many conquers one. Knowing the misery of the world, rejecting the connection with the world, the heroes go on the great journey. They rise gradually, they do not desire life. In the Sutra 130, he knows one knows all. He who knows all knows the one. He who is in the stupor is in danger. He who is alert is free of any danger from any direction. He who conquers one conquers all. He who conquers all conquers one. Knowing the misery of the world, the brave seekers renounce and the affiliations and proceed on the great journey. They progressively move towards purity and are left with no desire for life of indiscipline. He who serves one serves others as well, and he who serves others serves one also. He who has faith in the tenets of the absolutely detached is a sage. The seeker who, understanding the world according to the tenets of Jineshwar, renounces and becomes free of all fear from anywhere. Weapons have degrees of sharpness, but non-weapon has no degrees. He who avoids one avoids severally, and he who avoids them severally avoids one. Faithful according to the commandment of the Tirthankara wise, the understanding the world according to the commandment, such a man is without danger from anywhere. There are degrees in injurious acts, but there are no degrees in control. Igam Janai. This sentence conveys that a highly learned seeker who completely knows one ultimate particle of matter and its past or future transformations, paraya, with reference to its own and outside factors, comes to know all the substances and every transformation with reference to one and outside factors. This is because without the knowledge of all substances, the knowledge of one substance with all its past and future transformations cannot be gained. In the same way, one who knows all the things in this world, knows anything with all its past and future transformations. As there is a mention of passions and ashrava, this sentence can also be interpreted as he alone who completely knows ashrava or anger comes to know all other passions. And when he knows ashrava, he also knows samvar. Je igam name. This can be interpreted two ways. He who subdues anantunubandhi, krodh, also subdues many other such acute vices, including conceit and other intense passion. He who subdues mohaniya karma also sheds the remaining varieties of karma. Mahayan, one of its meaning is wide path or highway. The path of discipline is a highway on which anyone can move fearlessly. Parena param janti, to move ahead progressively from spiritual anger. The commentator has explained it as follows. By gaining right perception, rebirths in hell and as animals are avoided. After this, the seeker pursues the path of right knowledge and conduct to the best of his ability and reincarnates as a god in Sadharma or other dimensions. The leftover meritorious karmas cause him to be born in the world of humans as a human being in favorable conditions like land of activity, area of nobles, good family, ascetic discipline. This leads to a reincarnation as God in the loftiest Anuttar dimension. Descending from there, he is again born as a human in the said favorable conditions. Observing highest degree of discipline, he sheds all the karmas and attains liberation. Thus, he progressively moves ahead in ascetic discipline to attain liberation. In other words, he progressively advances in levels of spiritual purity from Samya Drishti or fourth Gunasthan to Ayogi Kevali or 14th Gunasthan. This phrase also appears to convey another meaning, that he gradually and progressively attains higher levels of happiness and brilliance. It is mentioned in Bhagavati Sutra, a Shraman with 1 month Diksha crosses the limit of intensity of brilliance of Vyanthar gods, progressively surpassing the intensity of brilliance of Bhavanpati, Ashur Kumar and Jyotiksha gods. A Shraman with 6 months experience after Diksha crosses even the brilliance of Saudharma and Ishan gods. A Shraman with 1 year experience crosses even the limit of intensity of brilliance of Anuttar gods. Thus he progressively acquires purer and purer intensity of Tejolesha. Igam Vichin Chasmne. This paragraph conveys that a highly accomplished seeker who has reached the level of Kshapak Shreni, the ladder leading to shedding of karmas, are progressive levels of lightness in context of the burden of karmas, while shedding Anantbhanti Kakshya also sheds other karmas like Darshana Varna. Even if he has acquired age determining karma, he sheds the 7 subtypes of karmas related to perception. And while shedding other karmas, he also sheds extreme passion. He who knows wrath knows pride. He who knows pride knows deceit. He who knows deceit knows greed. He who knows greed knows love. He who knows love knows hate. He who knows hate knows delusion. He who knows delusion knows conception. He who knows conception knows birth. He who knows birth knows death. He who knows death knows hell. He who knows hell knows animal existence. He who knows animal existence knows pain. Sutra 131. He who perceives anger also perceives conceit. He who perceives conceit also perceives illusion, deceit. He who perceives deceit also perceives greed. He who perceives greed also perceives love. He who perceives love also perceives hatred. He who perceives hatred also perceives fondness. Therefore, a wise man should avoid wrath, pride, deceit, greed, love, hate, delusion, conception, birth, death, hell, animal existence, and pain. This is the doctrine of the seer, who does not injure living beings and has put an end to acts and the samsara. Preventing the propensity to sin destroys former actions. Is there any worldly weakness in the seer? There exists none, there is none. Thus I say, he who perceives fondness also perceives womb, he who perceives womb also perceives birth. He who perceives birth also perceives death, he who perceives death also perceives hell. He who perceives hell also perceives animals, he who perceives animals also perceives misery. Therefore, that sage should completely overcome anger, conceit, illusion, deceit, greed, love, hatred, fondness, womb, birth, death, hell, animals, and misery. This is the philosophy of the seer who has destroyed all karma, is free of violence, indiscipline, and has unveiled perception. Sutra 132. Does the seer have any appellation, bondage of karma, or its effect in form of passions or not? No, he does not. So say. And this is the end of the third lecture called Hot and Cold.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।